Do you want to talk about where to go, or maybe actually, no, what, why don't I take up the where to go, and then if you
Sure,
have some comments on that?
sure.
So where to go, on election day, you'll go to your designated polling location to cast your ballot. And usually that's really printed on your voter registration card. You can also, again, visit usa.gov to find your polling place or your state or local election office. And in the guide, there is a link to that. You can also see the U.S. Election Assistance Commissions. There's a link to election day contacts, and vote.org has a polling place locator. And then Ballotpedia also has the state-by-state polling times, which is also important to know when you could start to vote and be the first one there, or near the end. There's also on USA.gov early voting options and also absentee voting. There's different rules around that. Vote.org has some absentee ballot rules, and if you want to do that, this is really early, over a month before the election is when you really need to start looking at what are the applications deadline, what are the deadlines to vote as an absentee. The National Conference of State Legislators breaks down, some of the application deadlines and where people can vote in person or absentee voting. So there's a lot of good resources. Mary, do you have some comments around where to go and maybe what Ballotpedia has published?
Yeah, definitely. I think this year is particularly unique for so many reasons, but a huge difference this year compared to other election years is that we're seeing the rules of absentee voting and vote by mail change. We're seeing a lot more people choosing that option due to the pandemic, and so this kind of gives you a few more options than I think you have during a normal election year, which is great, but can also feel a little bit overwhelming. So if you're planning on voting absentee or voting by mail, or if you're not sure whether that's the right option for you, I would suggest going to Ballotpedia and searching voting in your state. So I'm located in Wisconsin, so I would just go to Ballotpedia and search voting in Wisconsin. And as you mentioned, Sylvie, we list a link to your polling location and how to find that, and also links to the poll open and close times. So you can make sure if you have to work, if you have to get a babysitter, if you have to, whatever you're doing, if you're voting in person, we have that available for you. We also have links on those voting by state pages that will talk a little bit more in depth about the requirements to vote by mail or to vote absentee, because they do vary greatly by state. So some states require a witness, so you'll need a witness to sign off on your absentee ballot, which is really important to know, especially for those of us who might live alone or might not have a witness. It's good to check up on that ahead of time so that you're able to really plan to have someone available to witness your ballot. Some states also require proof of identification to go along with your absentee ballot. So it's really important that if you are planning to vote by mail or vote absentee, that you read the instructions that come with your ballot and follow them to the letter. I mean, even down to the pen color is really important to ensure that your ballot gets counted properly.
Yeah.
So that would be my big push, is that if you're planning to vote by mail, just make sure that you do your research and that you're requesting it in time and getting it in time, whether you need to look up drop-off sites or you're planning on mailing it. Just make sure to do your homework there.